All right. Hey, everyone. I'm here with Maggie Wells. Hey, Maggie.
Hi,
How are you today?
good. How are you?
Good. So, Maggie's with Keller Williams out of Lexington, Kentucky. And we were having a chat about, we call them the forgotten sellers. So, Maggie, tell us who these forgotten sellers are and how you market to them.
Yeah, so I find that upsizing families in particular, or just first-time sellers, often get forgotten
Yeah.
in marketing, I think, or just in the content or any information that's put out there. I feel like a lot of it's driven towards first-time home buyers,
hmm Or like
especially.
sellers maybe that have sold, like that are like downsizing or right sizing, right? But
Yeah, or it's
not
just like
like the
sell your
middle.
home. Like, are you ready to sell your home? It's a great time to sell your home, but no one really explains like how does that work? Like everyone's ready to like give you as much information as you want on, how to buy a home, but no one really explains like how do you sell for one, and then how do you make that transition from selling to buying your next home? Because it's like
Yeah, I
a whole
never
new
really
ball game and
like,
more complicated.
right. And I never really thought about it until you mentioned it. And I was like, you know what? She's right. Because it's like they're typically a little bit older. So you don't really think of them as first time buyers because they're not first time buyers, but they're first time sellers.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah, they're
like,
definitely
duh.
first time sellers for sure. And they just don't,
Right.
like I've had questions like, who pays the commission? When is it paid? Like,
hmm
they're not even trying, they just want to understand the basics of, how it works. Are there any taxes on selling it? How do I need it? What happens with my loan that I
Right.
currently
How
have?
does it get like paid off? And
Yeah, how does it get paid off? Like, how do I, make that transition? What can I afford? I mean, they need a refresher on the buy side because they haven't done it in a few years or longer.
yeah,
And they just need to understand their options there and then understand how to make that transition. And I just feel like they just definitely they get forgotten in the
I
information that's
think
put
you're
out
right. And
there.
I think not only do they get forgotten, we just assume that they know more than they actually do. So I
Absolutely.
like your like process and your mindset around that. It's kind of like still a first time home buyer like situation, but they're sellers. So just taking everything you do with first time home buyers and transferring it into sellers. So how do you market to these people?
So I market through, paid ads and social media, and then
Okay.
obviously, and then organically.
Okay.
I developed a method called a peaceful move method, and just, kind of addressing like the kind of situation most people find themselves in that first time seller upsizing family situation.
Yeah.
And just kind of, and then I've developed, a process, a 5-step process basically to, help them get from where they want to be or from where they are to where they want to be, basically. So, that involves a, consultation with them because that's,
hmm
again, they kind of either they don't get a ton of information. It's mostly like, how do you prepare your home? But like, it's
Right.
more than that. So, having a planning consultation with
hmm
them, I sent out a questionnaire to like understand where they are, where they want to be a little bit better, have that initial consultation to explain the selling process, the buying
Right.
process, and how you bridge that gap.
Yeah.
And just trying to make it as personalized as possible. But yeah, there's more steps than that. But yeah, the marketing itself is done through the paid ads. It definitely targets them with all the content around that.
Okay.
And then I have my guide and some different assets to go with that.
That's awesome. Would you be what would you be willing to share with everybody about that? Would you share your ad or your steps or anything like that?
Yeah, so the steps are one, like I said, in the actual,
The consult.
guide that they get, it explains how it works is one, the consultation, and
Uh-huh.
then two, just selling preparation. So going,
Yeah.
over to their house, giving a more detailed advice, kind of helping. And then, the big thing is just providing those actual services that help people in those situations. So
hmm
they're busy, they have kids, they have work, lots going on. So like helping them get who they need in to
Yeah.
paint, to do whatever. And I also include a cleaning as well that's
Oh
included
my
in
God. That's
services.
like the one big thing that sellers miss. They think their house is clean and it's not.
Yeah, I just think they just don't have time to get it, either. And then,
Right.
the people that I'm using, they are used to working with realtors that are listing houses, so they know, what they need.
It needs like a
Um,
deep clean though. Most people like just surface clean, So
yeah,
like it's
yeah.
not dirty, but it's not like showroom.
Yeah, and I go over that with them, and like to me, like the earlier anyone can do all this, the better, because I
Hmm.
always explain decluttering, depersonalizing, and I feel like the sooner they can start doing that. And again, I explain, trying to make it model ready, and so that buyers can envision themselves in there and they're not getting distracted by your stuff, and just neutralizing as much as possible. So, giving
Yeah.
them all that info, and then just giving them the resources they need to help get it done. And if they even need to, for example, the other day we helped, get a carpet guy in to do a quote for a client because they, were busy with work. And so anything we can do to help people
Well, and
out.
that reminds them too that you're like the resource, right? And so that then can create like a setup call for a touch campaign after they're done moving and when they go to buy again. And a lot of time these people are buyers. So you're looking at two transactions here,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
So
I
yeah,
think I like it better than first time home buyers. So it's only one transaction and nobody knows about it because there's no
mhm.
signs.
Yeah, absolutely. So the third step is just like, explain like how it goes on the market,
Okay.
and just kind of how that
Like the
process works.
process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like explain all the steps and just kind of like how it goes in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, there's more details in the
Right.
actual, consultation. And then I just explain the next step is house hunting, and kind of go over how that's handled.
And
And,
the timing.
helping people make in this market,
Hmm.
especially as we know, like it's even crazier, in the
Hmm.
last few months than it's ever been. Just helping them like understand that and helping them figure out all their options, and then just choosing the best game plan that's available to them, and
Right.
that will help them get that next home. So it's kind of hard. I had to have that conversation with someone yesterday. It's hard to break it to people, what they're up against on the
Yeah.
buy side, just because contingencies are almost, I mean, they're nearly impossible at this
Non-existent.
point.
Right. And
Yeah, so just kind of breaking that news to him and like giving him some time to sort through that and giving him, some ideas and options to how to make it work. So
hmm
but yeah, explaining the house hunting process and then project move, and then I always throughout the process, I like to make it as personalized as I can. So through the
sure.
process, we're dropping off like at the listing consultation, I drop off like boxes, a bag full of like packing supplies, coupons from
Dang.
different vendors, stuff
Really?
like that. And then once they go under contract, we drop some more off. We're just constantly trying to provide value and, get them what they need to
Is there
fulfill.
a vendor that you're using that pays for that? Like one of your, like your lender or anything? Or is that something that you pay
No,
for as part of your
I mean, my
marketing?
vendors mostly are just helping with like client parties, pop buys,
Okay.
just the actual touches outside of the actual transaction. But I mean, it's not a terrible, I mean, it's just like, giving them like 5 boxes, a bag with some tape
Hmm.
and things like that. But yeah, the vendors are supplying some like coupon, like moving coupons, things of that nature.
I gotcha. I
So
gotcha.
just kind of
That's really
helping.
cool. And then you have like kind of like an ebook or something you were saying? Or what is
Yeah,
it?
well, I have the guide, the upsizing your guide. It just,
Hmm.
walks them through like just how the general process works for someone who's just like starting to think about it, but they haven't reached out to anyone yet. It's just like a resource that's out there for them to take a look
Well, I've
at.
noticed too, a lot of people want like all the information compared to how it was before. You know what I mean? Like they want to know about it. So I think that's really good, even though it's
Yeah, and
stuff
then I
that
have
you're
this check.
talking to them.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So that, and then like a buyer checklist, seller checklist, just
yeah.
a few resources for them to have just to take a look at before we meet, um, just to help them get an idea of how
No,
it
I like
works.
it. How did you land on what your ad is and like how often are you doing it? What is your spend?
Yeah, so I mean, I did it all honestly through a coaching program that I'm happy to connect people with if they wanted to
Okay.
reach out. Um, but the goal is basically to market, pick that niche, and there's a lot of behind the scenes work to get to the point where you actually have the guide and you're rolling the ads out. But
Hmm.
just going through that whole process, and the spend, I mean, it's probably spending like 1,000 a month
Okay.
total on ads. So there's a, you know, magnet ad, and then everything, and then they get retargeted with 30 pieces of content related to
Wow, it's a
upsizing
lot.
families, you know, for I think 60 days. Like it has 30, yeah. So there's 60 days of them getting touched after that, and then it
Okay,
drops them also into an email sequence, so they're getting touched there, and it's a lot of like repurposing some of the content I've already
that's
made.
awesome.
So I mean, you get quite a bit of people who are responding to like the email sequences. Or
Well,
like
and it's
last
good
night I
too
had,
that it goes on long, because then the people that aren't quite ready, that are gathering information, you're like, seem like you're reaching out, you
yeah,
know?
you're just there to provide value, really.
Yeah,
And then you know, then you'll get people either organically or through the ads just reaching out with questions. Or like I had someone call last night that saw the ad and had some questions. So, or you get a lot of responses through the email sequence where you can, you know, you provide more value and start that conversation with them a
right.
little deeper.
What do you, if they're interested in doing something like that, do you want them to call you, or you want to tell us what it is? They can reach out to
Yeah,
them
they can just
directly.
message me and I can connect. I
Okay,
think it's easier for them if I just connect them if they're interested in like
probably.
learning more about it, just connecting them one-on-one
Okay.
with the company.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be
no, I'm
better.
definitely happy to do that.
Cool. So if people do want more information about that, or they do have a referral for you in Lexington, what is the best way to get a hold of you?
So you're happy to reach out to me on my cell phone. It's 859-402-4766, or you can find me on social media on Instagram and Facebook at Maggie Lee Wells is my handle for both those accounts. So I'd be happy to
Perfect.
answer any questions or connect you with my social media coach.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a really cool idea and I love it. So thank you for sharing with us, Maggie.
Absolutely.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.